Hello and welcome to our first session. I am Lamis Elhini, a PhD student at my final year of computer science. I have been studying computer science for more than 20 years now. I have been tutoring almost 10 years for different age groups. I like tutoring, I love coding, and I enjoy going to the gym. I also love textbooks and questions. I love to be asked a lot of questions because when you don't ask a question, I feel like I'm talking to myself. So question makes me feel that it's a two-way discussion and we are all collaborating in the session. Okay, how about you? Can you please let me know about yourself? So what is I want to know, let's decide on an objective. Why are you learning Python? What do you want to do with this, with learning Python and programming? Did you do any programming before? I see. Okay. So why learning programming? Programming is a language. Language are used to communicate, right? So now, but you are not communicating with human beings. You are communicating with computers to perform tasks. That's why it's a bit it's a bit complicated because a human brain is adaptable. So if you tell me uh, I feel tired now, or I'm feeling tired, or similar statements, I will understand that you are tired. However, in programming, you have to give the instruction in specific way. If you just change even one letter, the computer will not understand and it will give a syntax error, as we will know before. So why Python? There are many programming languages. It's not only Python, but why learn Python? Because Python is text-based programming. So what's the difference between text-based and drag and drop or block programming? So in order to simplify programming languages, there are some languages that are used only for learning purposes, which are drag and drop, like Scratch. So these like blocks, and that you drag and drop the instructions, and they work together, and they perform a task. By the way, they are internally, of course, translated to text. However, it's like an easy way to learn programming before getting into the text-based programming. However, in reality, all programmers and developers use text-based programming. That's why I believed Python is a good starting point because it's text-based. Additionally, it's a simple programming language. There are more strict and more sophisticated programming languages. So Python is a good starting point. Additionally, it's also powerful and used in real applications. So I think Python has it all, as we can say. It is real, simple, powerful. In order to get used with programming, we need to know some terminologies. For example, if you go into physics, you need to be familiar with weights, the grams, Newton law, and these terms and definitions, you should know them very well. Math, so on. Also here in programming, there are some definitions and concepts that you should be aware of to understand the computer science language. The first thing is a program. What is a program? Okay. The program is a set of instructions, as you can see written here, but actually, what is a program? A program is the whole thing that you write to achieve something by the computer. Okay. Could be this something could be one task, could be it should be like a big, you can explain it with a big goal. It could be like a goal, and in order to achieve this goal, you need subtasks underneath this to achieve it. So to achieve everything or whatever you have written to be executed by a computer is called a program. It's the whole thing. If you see that the whole thing could be divided into small parts, these small parts could be called functions. Functions are named block of code. When you have several instructions that could be repeated several times and you don't want to repeat writing the same set of instructions again, you can group them into a function, give them a name, and whenever you want to include these functions in your program, you want them to get executed, you just call the name and this function will be executed. This group of instructions will be executed. So we will use our first function, which is, this function is called print. This function we as developers, we did not write this function. It was pre-written by Python developers. However, we are going to use it. So when we say it, Python will know that we need to output hello into the screen. Okay, so we are familiar with two definitions now, programming and function. A syntax. What is a syntax? As we said, programming is a language, but should be written in a particular way to instruct the computer to perform to reach a goal, to perform a task. This way that you have to write this very, very, very particular way is called a syntax. As I said, if only one letter is, or any simple mistake, you forgot a semicolon, if the language requires a semicolon, whatever, if a very simple mistake, this is a syntax error. It will not work. The computer will give you a syntax error. So the syntax is, the grammar is more even strict than a grammar. The way that you have to write your instructions, it's called a syntax. Okay, so throughout your code, you will need to store values. You will need, like, like a safe box here. When you take input from the user, whatever, for example, if I ask you, if I want to tell you, write a simple program that will display your name. So at the beginning, I want to ask you, what is your name? And I save it in somewhere because the second line I want to display and tell you, greet you by your name. Hello, Maya, for example. So how can I do this? I need to a safe place to store Maya, right? So this safe place is called variable. So variable are defined by two things. In Python, variable have a label, which is a name that we will give them throughout the program, and a value which will be stored inside, which is the name Maya, okay? Because Maya is the name of the user right now. So what will you call what will you get? Why do we need a label? You need a label so that this safe box, in order for the compiler or the computer to know where to go, what is the name of your safe box. So the label, for example, what is the label? I mean, what to name the label? You can name it anything. You can name it X, Y, Z. You can name it whatever. However, good practice is to give it meaningful name. This will ease readability of a program afterwards if someone else is reading your program. So in our case, if you are taking the name of the user and you want to greet by name, it's a good practice to call it name, to give it label name. So any part that will store the name in your safe box, and in any part of your program, just you say print name, it will go to the safe box, bring the name, which here is Maya, and it will say, hello, Maya. So now, what are our next steps? We need to do a plan. So we need to identify your objective from learning Python and do a plan that will be formed of tasks, programming tasks, interactive tasks, a group of sessions, and questions and answers until we are able to reach this objective. Programming is fun. Programming is powerful. Python is a good starting point. So let's proceed and take the next steps. Thank you.